Hey guys, it's Sam here and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I've missed making videos. I've missed being in front of the camera, just kind of talking. And this is going to be actually one of those videos as well where I just kind of sit and talk and share a little bit of my life story. It's not going to be super dramatic. I know the title probably makes it sound like it, but I couldn't really title it any better way. But TLDR is straight to the point. I left Unity. Me and my team were part of the layoffs that happened in July last year, July, August, somewhere around those times. Which basically we were the game production team and we were laid off from Unity because they wanted to steer the company into a different direction. Now, why am I talking about this? Why am I making this video? I want to sort of come to a full circle. If you've been on this channel, basically what I'm trying to say is you've probably seen the video which I posted for a few years ago when I joined Unity the first time. And obviously along these like 8 years of Sykoo, I've been making videos about Unity and you guys have been part of this journey with me. So I just kind of wanted to make this story come full circle and help you guys understand why I've been taking breaks from YouTube, a lot of times actually. And also what I want to do in the future, but both in my career, which may not be super relevant, but mostly on YouTube, because I think it just feels correct. It just feels right to share all of this information with you. I'd also like to take a few minutes to share a little bit of information about, or like not even information, but sort of personal experience of what it feels like to be laid off, especially nowadays where a bunch of tech companies are laying off people left and right. Like if you're on LinkedIn, you'll probably be hearing, Meta, Twitter, Google, Facebook, all of these companies laying people off, and Unity is continuing in that circle as well, which is very unfortunate. But I think this might be a good time to sort of share some of these experiences in case it's helpful for anybody out there. TLDR version of the whole thing is basically we were part of the game production team under product at Unity. We were making the game sample Gigaya, which many of you may have already seen on YouTube. It's gotten a lot of positive feedback from the community, which we really appreciated the team as well. But we were part of the layoff because, as I mentioned before, the company wanted to go a different direction. But then they basically gave us the opportunity to choose if we want to stay with Unity, but in a different team, in a different role, or if we just want to leave Unity and then pursue something else. I was part of the group who chose to pursue something else. Unity actually took a lot of steps for making sure that we were good. We had a recruiter assigned to us. So everything was, in my personal experience at least, it was sort of positive and it felt like a nice ending to that story. And I felt at that time like I didn't really want to pursue anything else at Unity. I did apply for a couple of roles, but then I decided that they might not have been the correct choice for me because I kind of wanted to do something else anyway. So this was kind of like a great excuse for me to move on, because I kept feeling like been there, done that. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to move on from there. Now, in terms of being laid off, I mean, it's not easy. Like this is needless to say, I feel, but just to kind of clarify the experiences that you go through when you're laid off, it feels as if you're like you're in a confused mental state where you're like, did I just get fired or did I leave on my own terms? Or did the company just say that they don't want me? Like, did I do something wrong? What if, like there are a ton of what if questions and, did I do something wrong? You try to usually overanalyze the situation, which is very natural. But one of the best advice that I received during that period of time in my life was that it's not personal, as is with anything business really, but in terms of laying off people, it's not like getting fired, which was one of the concerns that I had. I was like, did I do something? Like, did I mess up? But the advice was basically, this is not you cutting ties with the company. This is the company cutting ties with your position, not you. So it's not directly related to you. They're not saying, hey, we don't want to do business with you anymore. They're just saying, we would like to keep you if you want to stay with us. But the situation right now is that we're cutting out the position that you're fulfilling at the company. So that helped ease a lot of the pain and a lot of the sorrow. But, eventually this is something that I kind of have an approach to things nowadays. And I think this happened way more often after I joined Unity. I just find everything to be an experience. Like literally anything that happens, I'm like, this is a good experience. Like I'm currently 25, I'm gonna be 26 mid this year. I'm like, this is actually pretty good for me to live through at my 25 and not have to deal with this, any later age, which if I did, it's not a problem, but I'm just fortunate. That's how I view. It's fortunate that I'm living through this so early so that I can set myself up for success in the future. The second thing that I did was, take a little bit of time to reflect. I actually took a pretty long time. I took about like 3 or 4 months, including a vacation for 2 weeks to Malaysia. Like now that I'm out of the position that I've been at for a while, I was at Unity for almost 5 years, 4.5 years, 5 years. And now that I'm out, what do I want to do? Like, what do I actually want to spend my time on? I was in the producer role. Like, did I go the correct path for myself? Do I feel like I want to continue pursuing something similar? Or do I want to transition into a completely different area? And I personally came to the conclusion that I do want to continue in the same area, but I would like to change companies because Unity, this is again, personal experience, but if it's helpful for you, I'll be more than happy to share this. So I had my Unity in my life for a long time, and I will continue having it because of this YouTube channel and because I love Unity as a game engine. But I've had it in my life for so long, and it became my job as well, as part from being a hobby. YouTubing became a job at some point, and then also literally getting my job at Unity was, the ultimate professional life, so to speak. And I just felt like, like what I mentioned before, been there, done that. I was like, okay, let's try to take a different step here. And now currently I work at IO Interactive as a senior producer. I joined their company very recently, actually just a few months ago. Like I mentioned, I took like 4 months of break from Unity and just from working in general. And I think that time really helped me settle. And, I had some time to like go on interviews, even like test interviews where I was like, okay, do I cut the slack for, most of the interview questions that they ask? What are the expectations nowadays? Because last time I interviewed was for Unity, and that was for 5 years ago. So I did that. That was really helpful. And then I, decided to join IO, and so far it's been going really well. I'm really enjoying being here, and there are tons of really skilled and talented subject matter experts at IO as well. So I'm just enjoying the time learning from them, learning from all the people around me, and they've all been super supportive. So I'm just very appreciative. Last piece of advice that I'll share, I guess, with based off of my personal experiences, instead of trying to think of what do I want to work with, I just sort of tried to think of what's my goal, what's the outcome that I want to have from a couple of years from now. And this is actually something that one of my mentors shared with me, so it's not like I invented this, but it's something that kind of clicked with me when he shared it with me, and I was like, yeah, this actually sounds good. Basically thinking of, in a couple years, or maybe even a year from exactly now, what do I want to have accomplished? Like, do I want to have my name on a big AAA game title? Do I want to have my name as a product manager of a great product, like a technology product or maybe even a game? Or do I want to have, accomplished setting up a game? Like, what do I want to do actually? What's the ultimate outcome? And I decided for myself that it would be, having my name on a very good or very well-known product or a game, product meaning game or technology, software. But I basically wanted to do that. That's the ultimate goal for me. And I was like, okay, now I can actually narrow down the scope, narrow down the number of options that I have in front of me in terms of choosing what I want to do next. And that also made it very easy for me to go to interviews with recruiters and, with executives and all these people, because I basically showed up to the meetings fully ready and being like, hey, I'm really inspired to work with you guys because I see that you're going for this kind of goal. And I'm actually on the same route. Like, I want to accomplish this. Like, this is my goal. And I just have full transparency. I share the whole thing with them. And usually it gets a better reception in terms of they start understanding where you actually want to go instead of them having to guess. You basically tell them, this is what I want to go for and this is how I want to do it. And they're like, yep, we can meet your expectations. Or they say, actually, this may not be the best, most suitable option for you. And that's fine, right? You just go from there, but at least you know what you want as opposed to what you don't want. Now, last but not least, Sykoo, this YouTube channel that you're watching right now. I took a long break. I mean, it's been 8 months since I last uploaded my video, which feels crazy to say because I still remember the day that I uploaded that video. The last few months have been hectic, obviously, with the whole layoff situation. And even a few months before that, it was a lot of planning, it was a lot of work related stuff. And it's just been hectic. But in reality, the reason for my break was I didn't know what to do on YouTube. Like I genuinely, I mean, I had, started off this channel making videos around like renders, which I really enjoyed. But over the years, having done these videos, it's like a, this is kind of a tough topic to talk about because I tried to talk about this for many times, but I just didn't know how to phrase it. I think today I'm a little bit smarter than what I was for a few years ago to be able to like phrase this correctly. Basically, I've been trying to talk about the fact that I have been there and have been doing that in terms of tutorials. I ran dry, basically, like quite literally, for the content that I wanted to create. And at some point, it just felt like I was recycling content over and over again, and it felt bad. Like as a creative, as whether it's you're creating videos or you're creating videos about art or whatever else, but as someone who's trying to like educate, inspire, and be creative in my work, it's the worst position you can get to where you're recycling work to a point where you're literally hanging them up the wall and you never take a look at them again. Like you never turn your back and be like, I did something good. Like that's something that I'm proud of. I had that for months, maybe even a year and a half on YouTube. And, not every video was something that I wasn't proud of, but at some point it was like just posting for the sake of posting. And I hated being there. And I also wanted to, try to find out what's the next step for Sykoo, much like in my career. And I think having been laid off from my like careers in terms of, the job itself, helped me understand that I have to think in a similar way for Sykoo. Instead of like utilizing these 4 months of break from having been laid off as a, let's produce a bunch of videos, which was the initial thought. I was like, let's get back on Sykoo. And then I held myself back. I was like, wait, what do I want to do though? Like, I will get back. I love making videos and I love creating content on Sykoo. I love game dev. I love the renders and the tutorials, all this stuff. But what do I actually want to do? Because I don't want to end up in the same circle or the cycle where I'm just unhappy, which is what the situation was for me for almost a year and a half, like I mentioned before. So I came to the conclusion. I'll share this with you now. Basically, I'm really interested in like graphics, renders, a little bit of like environment art slash, speed designing type of videos. But also I'm interested in anything regarding making these renders, like a car render, scene render, like a cave, how I did the lighting, and then breaking them down and being like, hey, this is how I actually made that lighting. This is how I placed the assets. This is how I made sure that the scene came to this composition. This is how I set up my post-processing. So instead of like a beginner tutorial for everything Unity related, I want to make breakdowns of scenes and renders that I create. And I think this is something that you guys have been asking for ages. This is just like, that's why I said that it's a tough topic to talk about, because I knew this was what I wanted. Well, knew as in, I had a hunch and I was like, yeah, people also want it, but I was so afraid of leaving tutorials because that's what I felt comfortable with. And that's when I realized it got dangerous and I was unhappy because I was always in my comfort zone, which is the opposite of who I am because I'm so dynamic. I hate having a monotone life, but my channel was everything monotone. This is literally turning into a rant, I'm sorry. But I just wanted to like get this off of my chest. I think I'm pretty much done with the video anyway, but I'll give you like a, updates for what's gonna happen, but I think you've already understood. But I just feel nice. I just feel good to having shared this with you. Because again, I've been feeling this for a long time and I really wanted to get it off of my chest. And I appreciate the time that you give to watch this video if you've been watching this far. Now, what am I gonna do? So, career, we already covered that. Work, I feel like I brought you guys on the full circle. Also, really appreciate that you're part of this journey with me. It's very nice to feel that I've never really been alone, which is great because I've sort of been a self-taught person since I started with this when I was 12 years old. I'm also an only child, so like being alone or a lone wolf in all of the projects that I've done is just like natural to my being. But it feels nice to finally say that I've had a lot of people follow me on this journey, and I really appreciate that. And for anyone who wants to continue following me throughout this journey, I appreciate that as well. Thank you. Now, in terms of Sykoo, again, I just recap. I want to create renders. I want to continue creating the scenes that I started this channel off with. And basically, focus on the graphical slash visuals aspect, basically the whole area around like post processing and making it look pretty and all this stuff like composition work, camera work. I love that. Like it's so fun to me, and I really want to put my focus there, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So you can expect to see a lot more renders, and I also want to do breakdown videos of them. So I want to share how I got there, like to the final product, and however I lay that over or lay that out or set it up and share it with you guys. I don't actually know yet. Like I don't have a perfect recipe for how to make that, but I'll be more than receptive to all the feedback that you guys have in terms of how you would like me to make these videos. If you have any ideas already, please let me know. I would really appreciate that. And one final note is for the future, I do not want to commit on a timeline. And this feels wrong to say because on YouTube, my rule of thumb and principle has always been that commitment or lack of commitment actually kills the channel. Commitment makes for better, audience growth. But I've kind of been there and done that too, like in terms of, been very much active in the rat race, been very much active in terms of like, I want to grow and, have the subscriber number grow and the views. And like, I kept track of all of that, and I can still do it. Like, it's not, it's not the problem for me, but I just don't want that stress anymore in my life. In terms of, I already have this work going on. I already have other hobby projects. I want Sykoo to be that fun area where I just create the stuff that I like and then make breakdowns of them. And if it's helpful for you, I really appreciate that. If that brings me, growth and revenue or whatever else, that's also very nice. I would be very happy for that. But that's not going to be my ultimate goal with Sykoo. My ultimate goal with Sykoo will basically be what made me start at Unity in the first place. I received a lot of opportunities because I learned the game engine from a very young age. I want to give that opportunity to other people. I think I've done so much with, the past videos, and I really appreciate the reception on those videos as well. I really appreciate everybody coming up to events, and being like, hey, thank you for the videos. It's mind-blowing to me that it's been helpful to so many people. But at this point, I just want to pinpoint focus on renders, graphics, what I'm really passionate about. And again, teach about that as well. Share my story, share my experiences of how I got there. I want to continue learning something new and then sharing that with you and being like, look what I found. That's how I started off the channel, and that's what I love. So yeah, I want to focus on that. That's where I'm going with this. And for videos, I may be posting twice a week. I may be posting once a month. It really depends on the number of content that I have in my mind. I do not want to get stuck in a position where I give you guys content for the sake of content. I hate that. It's literally against everything that I believe in. So I just basically want to make content when I feel like it. Maybe that's not the best growth strategy on YouTube, but you know what? I'm done with that. So I just want to create something cool and something useful. So yeah, I'm going to finish this video here. This happened to be a lot longer than what I expected. Thank you so much if you've been listening this far. Really appreciate your time, and I hope that this whole story about laying off or being laid off and what I want to do and how I took time to reflect and what I want to do on Sykoo, I hope that it's helpful for someone out there, whether you've been affected by layoffs or something else. I hope it helps you, and I wish you the best. I know these situations are really tough, but I think what's changed my mind entirely around these situations is I just view it as an experience. this is something that has happened to me to a point where I can open up a camera and talk about it. And hopefully, again, it's helpful to somebody else. So I'm trying to pay it forward. And I also hope that you guys appreciate what I want to do with Sykoo moving forward. It's something that I'm nervous about, actually. I'm not going to lie. I did consider a lot of times if I want to post a video like this or not, and I decided to do it. Because, again, I believe in transparency. You guys have been part of this journey for a long time. And maybe you're new to the channel, but, this is how I have been making this channel come up in live. Finally, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the time. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments if you have any thoughts or feedback or ideas for videos that you would like to see. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to launching this sort of like new phase of Sykoo. I'm really looking forward to like seeing what kind of feedback you guys will have on the videos. And I'm really excited for everything that is about to come. This is a new year, and I want to start this off in the right manner. And I think that this is the best way that I could have started the new year. So I really appreciate everything. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I'll be seeing you guys pretty soon. So have a good one. Bye-bye.